This is the Tallahassee Business Podcast, brought to you by the Tallahassee Chamber of Commerce. Before we begin, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Event Owl, who's helping clients across the nation elevate virtual, hybrid, and live events. Learn more at eventowl.com. Thanks for joining us and enjoy this episode of the Tallahassee Business Podcast.
Well, hello, everybody. My name is Sue Dick, and I'm president of the Greater Tallahassee Chamber of Commerce, and I am thrilled today for us to be able to talk to our Sheriff Walt McNeil and Assistant Sheriff Steve Harrelson on some innovative programs and tremendous leadership that they are guiding through our community for the benefit of our community. So Sheriff, and I'm going to reference Assistant Sheriff as A.S. Harrelson, but Sheriff and A.S. Harrelson, thank you for being here today with us. It's great to have you on the Chamber Podcast.
Well, thank you, Sue. It's a pleasure to see you and obviously to be a part of your podcast.
So we at the Chamber, we are working with your tremendous leadership and the many talented staff that you all have. And again, maybe just pause a moment for us. I know our listeners and the business community specifically would like to say thank you for the leadership and the work that everyone does within your law enforcement entity and the safety and guidance, and over the last year, what you all have done for our community. So a big thank you from the Chamber of Commerce, and I know all of our listeners feel the same way. So thank you and continued safety to everyone within your department.
Thank you, Sue. And we say our affirmation here is all in, and we believe that it takes everybody in this community working together, and certainly the Chamber is at the tip of that engagement for us. So
well, thank you, Sheriff. Thank you. You know, we have at the Chamber during the last year, led by Jay Smith as our chairman, we really tried to focus on three priority areas, and that would be obviously talent, workforce education, economic competitiveness, and community and prosperity. And I know some of the programs we're going to highlight today really fall in several of those buckets, if not really all three, because it's talking about our community, it's talking about a population within our community that we want to train and get re-entry back into our workforce. And so our goal today is to highlight many of those programs and also to ask our listeners, our business community, to help and to be informed and to really lean in and be all in with your efforts. So I think in the first part, Sheriff, if you can talk about some of the great work and partnerships that are currently being done with re-entry efforts, and also the mental health component that is so front and center on so many of these cases.
Yeah, Sue, thank you again. The fact is, we realize that to fight crime in our community, it's going to take more than just our law enforcement efforts. One of the things we realize is we've got to get to a point where those persons who, for whatever reason, are locked out of getting gainful employment in Tallahassee County. We know that jobs do assist us in fighting crime. So one of the things we focused on is, and we've partnered with Career Source and a number of other partners, and what we're finding is that we can, in fact, reduce our crime if we can get people with jobs. So we started this, what we call 1,000 Jobs Initiative, working with the Chamber, working with Career Source, working with the city and with the county. And what we're doing is we are identifying those persons who are in our detention facility who's gone through a number of types of training, and the Assistant Sheriff can talk about those specific trainings that they've gone through that enable them to, we believe, come out of our detention facility and walk right into a job environment. We have a partnership with a company in Madison County. I won't name the company, but it's a meatpacking company. And we've got an arrangement now where they leave our detention facility and are hired directly into that meatpacking plant. What we hope is that we'd like to partner with other businesses here in Leon County, particularly in the city of Tallahassee. And if they will let us know what the needs are, what the skill sets are, the persons they're looking for, we will try to replicate some of that training while they're in our detention facility. And then when they leave, we can introduce them back into a job. I understand right now the restaurants are in great need of persons to come in and do various types of jobs. And we think that there's an opportunity for this to be a win-win for both, for us from a law enforcement perspective and for those restaurants in our city. So that's one piece of it. And then the mental health piece is huge for us. in that we partnered again with Appalachian Mental Health, where we knew that something on the magnitude of about 40% of the people coming into our detention facilities suffer from mental health issues. And what we tried to do is identify those persons and then work with Appalachia to make sure we get them the treatment they need while incarcerated with us. But in addition to that, have a clean handoff, as we like to say, when they exit our detention facility. What people don't realize perhaps is that the average stay in our detention facility is less than a week. So person with mental health problems who are there for a small period of time, there needs to be a handoff in our community that allows those persons to continue their medication once they leave our facility. And we're so happy to have the partnership with Appalachian Mental Health and with some of our other social service providers here in Tallahassee County. But more details about that, Assistant Sheriff Harrelson deals with this on a day-to-day basis, and he's got some things we're doing with what we call a RISE Center that will also enlighten the folks here in Leon County about what we're doing to bridge those gaps.
And I think that's, I think that's important as far as knowing that the mental health component to it and also having a training program. And Assistant Sheriff, you were walking me through some of these programs, and I think it's critical for our listeners to understand them and also know how they can plug into them. So thank you for the work that you're doing. And if you can highlight those programs for us, especially within the vocational training, that would be very beneficial.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And absolutely. The thing we have to look at is things that we were doing in the past, what was working, what was not. And we recognize some things that were old techniques of how to fight crime were really not working. So one of the first things we retooled was our old work camp. We now call that pathways. And basically, it's a pathway to a different. So when you're sentenced, and these are for folks that have been sentenced, they've been released, but part of their sentence is to come and give community service hours. In the past, they were picking up trash, cutting grass, getting weeds, and that type of thing. They were no better when they came into that program. I mean, when they left, they were actually worse because now they had a criminal record and nothing to really take to a potential employer. So with pathways, what we do is we actually look at the individual and see what are your interests, what are your skill sets. So if you had somebody who was a shade tree mechanic, so to speak, no formalized training, but can actually work on cars. So instead of putting that person on a lawnmower to cut grass, our Pathways program can actually assign where he reports to our fleet management section. And they have a training program there that they can actually go through, put their hours in there, and then when they get through with that training program, they walk out with an SAE license, certification. They sit for the test, and they train them to take the test. So we actually guide them to a better way. And while that's working, our next program called RISE, which is our Reentry Innovative Services and Empowerment Center, while they're going through Pathways program, RISE is actually working in the background with issues with housing, transportation, anything family related, and even job placement. So we are multiple partners. So we obviously, like the sheriff said, we can't do this alone. So we work with many partners in reentry and businesses to try to make this person whole. So while they're going through Pathways, RISE is working in the background. So the whole goal of that person when they get through the program is actually be better. They walk out with a skill set, and hopefully they walk out with a job as well too, to do that. Our third program is called VEER. VEER is Vocational Education Encouraging Reform. And what that program is for the folks that are still sentenced with us, but where they have a sentence where they're allowed to leave during the day. So in the old days, that was a work release program, but this is more of a vocational release program. So we're able to enroll them in, and one of our first classes is going to be the CDL class, where we'll have a small class going through. We'll actually transport them down to the class. They'll go to class every day during the week, and they're on their own. We're not there with them. They're going through the class, and then they're picked up and they're brought back, and they stay nights and weekends with us until they get through with the training program. And that varies depending on the vocational program that they're going through. They could be going through welding. They can go through our culinary thing with Refire. That's another program we have, partner that we have working with us. But the idea is they are getting that vocational training. And then while they're there on nights and weekends, they're getting life skill trainings because, excuse me, a lot of people have never had a bank account, so they don't know what to do when they get their first paycheck. Well, how do they deal with it? How do they pay bills? So the idea is another life skill that we need to teach them before they get out of the program. And again, in the background, RISE is working to help find them employment. So these three programs are all working together to try to make a person better educated, better trained, and actually are going to be a whole person when they walk out of one of our programs. And it I hear the common thing, and the sheriff heard it too. We're being soft on crime, and we're really not being soft on crime. We're just simply attacking crime from a different angle. So we look at time like a team, and if we can take players off the crimes team and get it on the lawful society team, whatever team has the most players are always going to win, so to speak. So that's how we're being tough on it. We're trying to improve the individual and give them other options other than commit crime in the future.
Well, and you've laid out really a real system or a comprehensive approach to it. And so the question that we would always want to ask, especially from the business community or the chamber, is, okay, how can we help now that you have put these programs in place and you've actually laid out certain pathways of different industries? What would you ask, or what are some of the early findings that you have identified for maybe continued success or a higher level of success or more of a rapid success rate?
Well,
what we're looking for is partnerships with the businesses. I mean, we're giving them a product that they'll know all about their background. They've had specialized training for life skills for the job that they're applying for. And they get a full report from us of what this individual is. So when somebody applies for a job in the outside, you see what's on the application. You may get an interview. So you're getting a small snapshot of that person. Somebody coming from beer or coming from Pathways, you're getting pretty much a full novel of information about this person, what they've been doing, how that attitude has been during the program. They've been getting counseling from our RISE Center about working and participating and being a productive citizen of society and everything. So they're getting all this support before they enter into the workplace, and they're eager to start working. We have ladies that are sentenced here, female inmates that are on our cleanup crew. They have to be inside the secure area. But even with them, we're always working with them with our case managers with reentry. And the three we have on the program right now, two of them, one needed a part-time job, the other one needed a full-time job. And with our case managers with reentry, they got some additional training and they got recommendations, and now they're going to have employment when they get out. So now they got something to look forward to. They got children. They got to have a job to be able to feed them and everything. So before, if we weren't doing all of this, when they got out, they were on their own. And what we see is recidivism being what it is, they go to what they know, and that's committing another crime to try to make money or whatever. So this way, we're giving them options and a light at the end of a tunnel that's a better life than what they were going to originally.
Well, Sue, this is what we need from the business community and all our community. One, we need for, I don't know how many businesses out there are looking for people, but send your ads, your job wanted ads, send those to the Leon County Sheriff's Office. We've got a pool of people sitting here that we're training, and to start now advertising, contact me, send us an email saying you've got a job opening. We can, in fact, Steve, if we would, we're gonna, since you mentioned this, we'll try to stand up our page on our Facebook and allow businesses to come in and give us information about jobs they may have opening. And we'll try to connect those jobs to the inmates that we have. I will tell you right now, Kim Williams is one of the best business people in this town, as far as I'm concerned, and I don't think he will mind my talking about his business. Kim hires people from our detention facility on an ongoing basis. I mean, in fact, we had one inmate who was scheduled to go to work in the meat packing plant. I won't call their name because I don't have their permission yet. But they were going to work there, and something didn't work out. The transportation didn't work out right because they've got to drive to Madison. And Kim Williams stepped in and said, "Hey, I'll take that person. I need somebody down here." So if we can get other businesses just aware of the fact that we're doing this. And if they've got job openings, if they can post those, they want to post them on our website. I'll get Ms. Shonda Knight to set up a page, and we'll get all that going, because I think that's a direct way in which we can connect. And as Sheriff Harrelson was just saying, we do the background on these folks. We have some idea, and if we believe that person is a threat to you, we're not going to try to place them with those businesses. So that's a big takeaway, I think, from what we're doing.
Well, and I think so the best thing to do is go to your website. I mean, let's be direct on maybe let people know what that website is, and maybe a contact name, the first point of entry for a contact name.
Well, the website is www.leoncountyso.com. It also has our contact information on there, so they can go there. There's an email address on that they can send it to. Trust me, if they send it to the email address, it's going to get to the right person. And
Wonderful.
I mean, we are, like the sheriff said, our application is all in. We are extremely all in when it comes to this job entry and getting folks employed and everything. And Sue, I'll be honest with you, I got the advantage of, I deal with the case managers over here, and I'm able to see the success stories and talk to the folks. And it is absolutely amazing to hear where they come from, where they are now, and how enthusiastic and ready they are to actually start a different path in life. So it's a good feeling. I mean, you get greedy for it because you keep wanting to do more and more. And that's, if these businesses come on board with us, we could give them that same feeling, and I think they will absolutely be grateful that they did, and the kind of caliber of person we're going to give them to work for them.
Well, it's a tremendous program, and it's so important for our community. And I know that the business community respond. I know that as a chamber, we have our committee chairs and many of our board members and staff actually, and our team members that are participating on working committees on some of these initiatives. And so our commitment is to be there to try and be that link for you and to support in any way possible. And again, to our listeners, please do reach out to our Leon County Sheriff's Office and this important work for our community. Sheriff or Assistant Sheriff, any closing comments or remarks you would like to make? And again, I want to thank you both for your leadership and what you do for our entire county.
Well, thank you, Sue, and thank again the members of the chamber. I can't say enough about the partnership we have with the chamber members and the leadership that you all have shown. We know that we can do a better job in terms of trying to address some of the problems we have and as relates to crime in our community. But I believe these partnerships are crucial. All of us realizing that it's not just the law enforcement component, not necessarily just the business community, but the families, neighborhoods as well. So if there's somebody out there listening to this podcast who has family members in our detention facility, they need your support and help. And we also need you to realize that we're trying to do everything we can, work with the chamber and with our mental health partner, Appalachian Mental Health, to do the best job we can do for the citizens of Leon County. So thank you again, Sue, and thank the chamber leadership.
It's our pleasure. Thank you both very much. Stay safe. And again, for those listeners, please go to the website, see how you can get informed and support the hard work that's being done on behalf of all of our citizens within our community. Gentlemen, have a wonderful day. Stay safe.
Thank you, Sue.